Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum to my channel. It has been a long that I have done any review lately. I've been busy a little bit of that, little bit of this, and not happening. The video was not happening, but books were there always, but video wasn't there. In the meantime, I have done a video about a book and it is already kept in my memory card, but I have not decided whether I have to upload it or not, because it is about 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. Those of you who are familiar with Haruki Murakami, you know that he is a very prolific and very famous writer in Japan, and he is not a recent writer actually. He has been quite a long there, and his writer is tremendously brilliant, maddening brilliance, some people have called him. And 1Q84, the name itself is a very brilliant name. I mean, I thought it is 1984 at first. It took me quite a bit to understand that it is not 1984, but rather it is 1Q84. I mean, the writer is telling a story about a time which is not in our timeline. It is not 1984. It is another year where there are two moons, and they're talking about another world. He's talking about the story of our world in the frame or in the magnitude of another world. Actually, today I have started to, I thought I would review about Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. But meanwhile, it came to me that the video of 1Q84 was not been uploaded. Why not I give you a glimpse of that book? Because 1Q84 seemed to be a very different book apart from all the books I've ever read. The reason being, actually three elements I'll give you. Number one, there is not one particular reality. Even you are not sure in which reality you are reading the book. Number two, it is a superb psychological thriller. If you go through part 1 and part 2, people who love psychological thriller, they would love the turns and twists of this book. Superbly fast-paced thriller. And number 3, the book has elements of surprise like no other. I guess you understand or you know about the term magic realism. Here is a book where magic realism and psychological thriller and a pure romantic love story are running side by side. Not only that, this book also contains a book inside a book. This book is about a writer who is writing a book, and we are also listening to the story of that book, which happens to be in this book. I am not juggling, I am not using words as just to entertain you. What I've said is truly true. Okay? The book is about a writer who is writing a book, and the story of that book comes into this book. The characters mingle. And now, at first, this story is about Aomame, very athletic, beautiful, not very beautiful in some aspects, but basically she is an intelligent, very athletic, strong, independent woman, Aomame. We are watching her stuck in the traffic jam. She's stuck in traffic jam, and at one point of time she is not happy. She got irritated, maybe she has some hurry. She leaves the car and she follows the footpath or like the sidewalk. While she is walking, suddenly she finds that she can no longer walk above, but she has to go underground. I mean, I haven't been there, but those people who were in Japan, or those people who lived in many metropolis, there are actually tube rail, there are underground markets, places, roads, many things underground, beneath the surface. So Aomame goes beneath the surface, and this is such a metaphor, because actually when Aomame goes beneath the surface, the story goes beneath the surface. The story goes into a world that we haven't thought about. The thing is that the world is a mysterious world, Suddenly we discover a MMA which we never expected. She is a serial killer, but she is like the Robin Hood. I mean, not killing for pleasure, she is bringing justice to the world. People who cannot be captured by the law enforcement agencies, people who are torturing women, she is killing them. And her killing is like effortless. I mean, very much professional. No one can find that the person was actually killed. Okay, she made killing an art. She is also a masseuse or very guru, very professional yoga teacher, or she teaches people, or she helps people who are having pain or have some problems. So this is her profession. She goes to gym. She is highly athletic. She is a yoga expert, and actually beneath the surface she is a serial killer who is killing the bad people actually. So this is the beginning of the story. The story goes from here to another person's life whose name is Tango, who is a school teacher teaching math, and he also happens to be a wannabe writer. And suddenly he writes a book given by the publisher, prescribed by the publisher. He actually rewrites the book, which brings devastating changes in Tango's life. Not only that, after publishing this book, things began to change. What I expected to be a psychological thriller is not so anymore. I have entered into a world of magic realism, and it is hard to find what I am reading. I am in that world or I am in this world. So this is a magnificent book with a fast-paced story and with a twist, and those who love romance, romance is there. Like, I must tell you that since watching Titanic, I haven't find this much romance in any media, like in print media or in multimedia. I mean, in any sort of videos, I haven't found a romance so strong since watching Titanic. So this book is superbly a romantic book. And again, those who are into the genre of magic realism, those who read Gabriel Garcia Marquez or Kafka, those people also have a very good reading in 1Q84. And also, Mr. Murakami's superb ability is for description. Like, when a character is walking the path, just he describes the things that the character sees, and 1 page or 2 pages is gone. He also describes the inner thinking of the characters, moment by moment, minute by minute. So you may write a 50-page description and actually 50 minutes have passed in the story, in the original story. So that is the maddening brilliance of Mr. Murakami. Actually, I've talked a lot about this book, but I haven't shown you the book itself. Look at this book. It is pretty evident that Japan elements here, like the red marks. It seems like some Japanese symbols. And 1Q84, you can see it. Pretty obvious. And there are 2 moons, the first moon and the second moon. You can see it. Okay, don't be afraid about the book. It is pretty thick, but the write-up is pretty strong and pretty fast-paced, and very good description by Mr. Murakami. And again, I haven't encountered any book like this so far. So those who haven't read Murakami yet, of course you can start with 1Q84. This is a starter, and he has also other books which are offering great value and great taste. Today I thought I'd be talking about The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown, but Mr. Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. And let me tell you, I'll tell it without making any remorse on what I say. For me, The Lost Symbol seems to be the most important book of Mr. Dan Brown, because though he started Da Vinci Code at the beginning, The Lost Symbol contains informations that are astonishing, truly astonishing, with never before found information. Okay, if you say that the Da Vinci Code actually talked about England, France, or Louvre Museum, Whereas the lost symbol is talking about the Washington, the very foundation of USA and the very foundation of US story and the first presidents of America. And it talks about the Smithsonian Institute, the Washington DC, the Washington Monument, and the history of the Natural History Museum of Washington. This book talks about the innermost things beneath the surface of. Again, there are two comparisons. In 184, it talked about beneath the surface of in Japan, and here it talks about beneath the surface of Washington. And what it is talking about? It is talking about a secret society called the Freemasons. Okay? Dan Brown talked about the Knight Templars, he talked about the Priory of Sion, and now he's talking about the Masonics people, the Freemasons. Okay, the Freemasons, this is a secret society, and there are many informations about them, but he explores them in detail, and he explores many hidden symbols, many hidden things, many hidden archives, many hidden information, and which seems to be actually pretty accurate. Dan Brown describes them as really accurate. He haven't falsified a thing. And in this story, a very respected person of Mr. Robert Langdon is actually out of sight, and Mr. Robert Langdon is on the way to find him. And while he is finding him, he is revealing history in another aspect. He is finding things that he has never known before. What Dan Brown offers us is a very informative book, and you know, he is actually he's a scientist, he's a research person himself, and his books are like, wow, what is it really? Because if you are a reader, Dan Brown is like a blast, because nobody has dared to write books like this before, and it all started with Da Vinci Code. But moreover, in The Lost Symbol, he describes the total world actually. How can I say it? Like, I mean, you have heard that Taj Mahal is a Masonic symbol. It is a Sufi symbol. The Taj Mahal, when Mr. Shah Jahan, the king, planned it, or he designed it, or he took the design. Have you heard about it, that the design of Taj Mahal was taken from a Sufi dervish's drawing, pencil drawing. Okay, it represents the throne of God in the day of doomsday, where God will sit and where the people will be there. That is a drawing from the dreams of a Sufi. So these are the things that you can relate in Taj Mahal, in the pyramid, and in the monuments of Washington. The iconic shapes, the pentagons, many things you can relate to. Even he did not limit himself in discussing about the Christian religion only. He discussed all the religions. He discussed many ethnicities and many people around the world. And moreover, Dan Brown wrote one thing at the beginning, which is truly something to be remembered. He wrote, "To live in the world without becoming aware of the meaning of the world is like wandering about in a great library without touching the books, the secret teachings of all ages." He also mentions about Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He mentions about Zarathustra. He mentions about Buddha. He mentions about all the religious gurus, even Krishna in the world. And he actually tries to combine the whole world history that we know and finding the similarities, finding the tunes, inner tunes, and actually a way or the dots to connect them. The Lost Symbol is a truly revealing book. It is an asset or a lifetime thing to read actually, and it will enrich you for a lifetime actually, if you can read it thoroughly. And of course you have to have some respect for the contents of this book. If you are not into this genre like history, arts, religion, then you better not read it, The Lost Symbol. But if you are not in that genre, but if you like fast-paced action, thriller, romance, everything, then I have this book for you, 184. So today I am so happy that I could talk to you about two prolific writers, Mr. Dan Brown and Mr. Murakami. Have a bonanza, have a good read, have a good life. Love yourself, love others, hate no one.